Welcome back, guys. Well, we are here. Was in debate if I was even going to be doing a review at all. Um, the Acolyte, man, not only is it a train wreck, it is beyond a train wreck, and I'm going to go into this like I did last week. I know I didn't really get a whole lot of good or bad feedback or anything of that nature, which I'm happy about. But at the same time, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say this. If you enjoy the show, good for you, but not for me. And I know someone's probably like, oh, well, why are you watching it then? Just stop watching it. I have a right to my opinion just like everybody else. And I'm going to get into this. But the entirety of this third episode was a flashback. I'm just going to sum it up real quick. It gets revealed, of course, Osha and Mai had two mothers. One pretty much created them. The other one carried them. They did not go into full detail about that. They referred to the Force as a thread, and also that the Jedi were a threat because they would take away their children, and there was just women on this planet, and it was the four Jedi that Mai's hunting, of course, Soul, the Wookiee Jedi, and the other two that we've seen, and the entire time we have where Mai is not wanting to have anything to do with the Jedi. She's wanting to be a witch, and Osha is wanting to possibly be a Jedi, because there are some things in here I was like, okay, I can kind of see that being normal, because the twins one was wanting to do what, the other witches want her to do, to ascend, to become a witch, and all sorts of kind of stuff. And Osha did not want to do that. She wanted to explore the possibilities. Like the whole thing of normal being a twin, like, hey, I don't want to be just a twin, I want to be my own person. And that's, fairly normal. But at the same time, I felt like with the whole ceremony that it could have gone a little quicker. It was just, the whole episode was very boring, and the only thing that caught my eye was when they said, oh, well, I created them, well, I carried them, and what will happen if the Jedi found out how you created them. And it was like, okay, how did you create them? Was it some kind of magic? Was it what? I mean, again, there's been magic in Star Wars with the Night Sisters. We know this. These ones are considered themselves witches. They're not calling it the Force. They're calling it a thread. And at the same time, the one's like, oh, well, one should be allowed to use. No, everyone is able to use the Force. That is the one thing that got me. Everyone has the potential of using the Force. It does not matter who uses it. Whether it be good or bad, they're going to use the Force. That is what really got me. It does not matter. Again, you could be very high to the ability to use the Force for an ability, or you're not. Again, within canon, it took Obi-Wan a long time to get as powerful as he is now. Sabine, not very powerful. Look at Anakin, very powerful. And while we're speaking on Anakin, we have where the girls do get tested, and there, I want to say around the same age Anakin is when he gets tested in Phantom the Menace, same way. Mai lied on her test. She's telling Osha to do the same thing. Osha did, but it was like, why were they going along with it? And they kind of sensed, I guess, that she was lying. And they went ahead and I guess she passed the test. And they're going to have to get confirmation if they can, take her to Coruscant so she can be trained. Now, here's the thing here, guys. Is at the very end of the episode, you see where she's about ready to leave, and Mai gets angry. She takes a lantern, tries to kill her own sister, and she basically destroys the entirety of this, coven. But we don't know how. So we don't know exactly if so-called one lantern did it, which again makes no sense. And the same thing with, all of them are dead, apparently. Mai supposedly gets, missing, and then Soul gets Osha and then rescues her and takes her back to Coruscant. Now, I know a lot of people are saying, oh, Soul's the best character, or Soul's this, Soul's that. Dude, I don't mind Soul, and I don't mind the Wookiee Jedi. Those are really the only two I don't mind. I don't like the main character. I don't like Osha or / Mai. I don't like the actress. She is a radical activist bitch that wants to play the race card every time I turn around. So, no, I have no respect for somebody that's going to do that crap. Leslie Headland can take this whole thing and shove it, because pretty much all she's doing is inserting her own politics. That's all she's doing. This made no sense. You're basically trying to gatekeep who you can use the Force and who doesn't. Again, there is nobody that is unwilling to use the Force if they know how to. The Force is what binds us. The Force is not female. Let me rephrase that. The Force is not fucking female. Someone to say that, you're ignorant and you're stupid. The Force is not a gender. A Force is what it's called, a force. It's a force of energy. It is in people. It is in species. It is in animals. It is in plants. It's in rocks. It's in everything that has some type of, whether it be part of nature or species or something. It really gets me how people say, oh, they know Star Wars, and then they want to come out with this ignorance that is the Acolyte. And the main thing that gets to me is, again, they're pinning the Jedi to be the bad guys, and again, I have not always agreed with them taking children young, and the reason why they do that is because of their potential, and at the same time so they can train them and they cannot have, attachments, which again has been going on for several years, but look what happened to their downfall. Again, I'm not saying the Jedi were right in their causes, by no means. I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is you could have said, well, what do you mean by the threat? If you mean the Force, that's what we call it. And again, I see maybe what they're trying to do. Maybe trying to use like a different group of so-called Force users, or someone that is close to the Force to try to use it that you don't call the Force. And that's okay. But again, it is the Force. It's not a threat. It is the Force. Because, again, you want to call it that, that's fine. But I'm always going to call it the Force. Same thing. It just... This episode was so boring, and I was like, okay, what the hell are we doing here? I don't care if Osha and Mai had two mothers. I can give two rats' ass about that. I really don't care. And again, this don't feel like Star Wars. It feels more like a fan-made, here you go, I'm going to insert my agenda TV show. Only two Jedi that I find a little interesting is probably Sol and the Wookiee Jedi Master. They're probably going to die anyway, so it don't matter. Only that, and that's it. And I'm saying just for Star Wars alone for their background, but they're probably going to mess that up too. I'm not saying everyone's like, oh, is this the one that's going to finally break Star Wars? I'm not saying that. I'm not saying this broke Star Wars. It didn't make no sense. I feel like that they were trying to the redo of like Anakin Skywalker with not only the testing, but being so-called created by the Force, but there was no concrete evidence to say that they were created by the Force like Anakin was, which I don't know. It doesn't make sense with them trying to do that, especially, and the whole thing of having, I would say, two ones that are lesbian witches, again, I don't care, or the other witches are, I don't care. That is the last thing on my mind. I don't care. I just want a good story, and the way the story is going, it's very boring. It's very slow paced. It doesn't make sense. You're putting things in Star Wars that you're going, why would you do that? Again, it's just plain ignorance. It's ignorance, and I'm just, no matter how many people either try to destroy this or either try to stand up for this show, the fandom's going to be more divided than it ever has been because of this, and then other things that they're trying to make to divide more of the fandom. And I don't know if this series is going to break me to the point of I'm going to say I'm done with Star Wars altogether. I don't know. I haven't gotten to that point yet. But I feel like it's slowly coming to the point of I may just walk away at some point. I'm almost there with Marvel as well. I have not watched several movies of Marvel because of I just don't care anymore. And Star Wars is getting to be almost like that too. Because, again, if the creators, the head of Lucasfilm, Kathleen Kennedy, the actors, if they're going to be ignorant and not know the lore, and they're going to put down fans, they're going to throw the race card out there, they're going to throw the just everything in the book at fans that are just being honest, and you can't take the criticism, then I don't know what to tell you. Because clearly we're not the problem, you are the problem. You need to look in the damn mirror. But this is just a travesty, dude. Like this show should not have been made. Period. If you're gonna make a show like this, it should have not been nothing to where it is like it is right now. I don't know if it's gonna get worse. Apparently, it's gonna get worse. Um, the acting is so cringe. I can't handle it. The acting is very cringy. It's very like you just want to go, where did you get these people? Like, are they even actors? Like, the only one I know can act is the one that played in The Matrix. That's the only one that I really know that can act. So, I don't know. Guys, I'm at a loss for words. What do you think? Let me know down in the comments. It's probably just going to get worse. And that's my dog barking. Well, sorry about that, guys. Hope you enjoyed.